Hey guys, what's up? This is Panzer Dragon, and today we'll be showing some flash tricks with champions from A to B, which means champions starting with the letters A or B. And if the champion does have a cool trick or tip with them, we'll be showing that too. In this video, you'll be shown the mechanical trick and an example of where you could use it. And we won't be skipping any of the champions because I do feel every champion has something special about them that they can do. So no skipperino. And if you are a self-proclaimed challenger from Reddit, or an actual challenger, or just some guy, been playing this game for years, I think you'll find something interesting, cool, or useful in this video. So with that being said, let's get started. Alright, so the first person we're going to do is Ahri. So have you ever seen that clip where Shifter used Charm and then flashed onto that LeBlanc at middle? This is the same technique that he used. Basically, you're going to want to use your E and then you're going to flash, and then that charm's going to go with you when you shoot it. And basically, the point of this technique is that the enemy has no way to react to it since it's so fast and they don't see the charm coming after you flash. Do note that the charm's projectile is going to be where your cursor is, not in the direction of where you shot it. An example of where you'd use this is if you see that the enemy has flash on them, and to kill them you need to land the charm. So you surprise them by using the charm before you flash instead of after the flash, so there's not enough reaction time coming from the enemy to dodge that charm. Next champion we'll be going over is Akali. So this first combo is pretty known to most Akali players. Basically what you're going to do is double proc your Q mark, and the way to do this is by using your Q, waiting a few seconds before it comes back up. And then once it's about to come back up, you dash at the opponent, proc that first Q, then use your other Q, and then use the E to proc that faster. And this is pretty known to most Akali players. You can use your W to review over walls, and then you can dash to them. So with this in mind, you can do something like, if you're going to dive mid, you can use your W over the wall when you're diving them, and then get out freely without popping your flash. The next trick with Akali is going to be the Baron juke. Basically, you can jump to the Baron if you have a ward or a shroud over it, but there is a sweet spot that you have to go to in order to jump to it. Any other spots won't work the Baron as the wall is too thick, and the spot is where I place this ward, which I think is also the same spot where Caitlyn can hit Baron from, but I'm not 100% sure of that. Next one is going to be Alistar. Most people do know about the WQ combo, where basically you combine both spells and using your W as a gap closer while using the Q to knock them up. Another trick with Alistar is you can use your Q before you flash. And so just like the example with Ahri, it's hard to react to and it catches the enemy off guard. This is pretty good for setting up kills for your AD carry or catching an enemy off guard if say he has like 10 ping and can react to an Alistar flashing towards him. The next person we're going to do is Amumu. So same concept with Ahri, you just press Q instead of E. Again, surprising the enemy so that he can't flash. Same situation as the Ahri example, and even following where your cursor targeted when casting it is still the same. The next Amumu trick we're going to be showing is the R plus flash. So an example situation is, say you're a Amumu and you want to initiate, but the enemies might flash once they see you flash, and then you don't get a good initiation. But with this combo, they see you pressing R on one person, and then instantly, boom, you catch them all with that combo. Next one is going to be Annie, but all the flash tricks with her are really useless, as most of her cast times are instant, so you don't need the surprise. But there is a cool trick about her, where you can pop the stun with the surprise that she doesn't have it up. Basically, you're going to want to have 3 stacks of your passive, and then once you shoot your Q, you're going to want to activate your E while your Q is in midair so it stuns the enemy. This is good for surprising the enemy and getting some free harass onto him, or setting up for a gank. Next up we're going to be talking about is Azir. So with him there's no pre-flash tricks, and you can't flash bump with your E while in midair, it just cancels it. The only cool trick that Azir has is the flash insect combo, where you're just trying to get behind the enemy and then using your R to push them into your team. This is really good for initiating fights, although really risky putting yourself in a dangerous zone. But as long as you know it's a good fight or a good catch, then go for it. Alright, so the next champion is going to be Blitzcrank. So the combo here is to flash and then use your E to knock them up, and then you're going to want to use your grab, and your grab is actually easier to hit since you first of all knock them up and they're closer to you, and they can't get away from the knockup since once you're in animation of your E, they still get knocked up regardless if they flash out. So it's really good for, say, if you're Blitzcrank and you want to set up some ganks for your jungler, or of course if you're just going for a 2v2 kill. It's more consistent for you to do this instead of the jungler relying on you to land a hook so he can go in, as you know, if you don't land the hook then it's going to be really hard for the jungler to gank for you. So the next person we're going to do is Brand. So even though Brand has a skill shot and it's a projectile, unlike Ahri and Amumu, it doesn't work with pre-flashing, so no pre-flash tricks here. But here are some unorthodox combos I like to show. So the first one is like a surprise stun, where you basically use your Q first and then E them. It will definitely catch people off guard since they aren't ablaze yet, so they're like, oh, I got stunned. And then you kill them. it's definitely really good for surprising people when you need that stun, although your Q range will be lower since you aren't flashing and then using your Q, so I definitely say it's used for close quarters. Next one's very similar. It's basically using your W and then you're confident on using your Q that it'll land, so you cast it even though W hasn't hit yet, and so you'd use this if you're very confident that your W and Q will hit. And next up is going to be Braum. The only trick I found with him is that you can use your Q and then flash, just like Amumu and Ahri. You probably use this in situations where you're chasing someone and you know they have flash, so you want to surprise them by doing this combo. Unfortunately, as Braum, when you're casting your ultimate, you cannot flash, so you can't surprise enemies by doing the pre-flash trick. You're just going to have to rely on yourself using the R after you flash. Alright, so next up is going to be Anivia. I screwed up the alphabetical order, I know, it's because I forgot to do her. But basically, all her flash tricks are useless. Redirecting the wall by casting it earlier, it's nothing, and pre-flash flash frost wouldn't work, and even if it did, it wouldn't be useful. The only thing I really have to say is that people with knockback skills into wall, like Vayne or Poppy, do work with their wall, so you can have some crazy synergy in the bot lane. Anyways, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Ashe and Aatrox do have a flash trick, but it's kind of useless. And if this video does really well and gets really good feedback, I'll be doing CTE next. And if you do want to see that video when it's up, feel free to subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.